Hey everybody, welcome back to another unboxing video. And today, I know I don't do these that much anymore, but we're doing these fairly regularly for a little bit. We'll see. Let me get to it. Today we're here for Horror Pack. We should get into this real quick. Horror Pack is gonna send me some for free occasionally. Not sponsored or anything, but they are sending me the box for free. I should give you that full disclosure. This is the July 2022 Horror Pack. And if you're unfamiliar with Horror Pack, I'm gonna start working on popping open the box. Please tell me I didn't just flash my home address. Basically, it is a movie subscription service. They're gonna curate 4 movies every month. You can choose between DVDs or Blu Rays. And I just looked it up to confirm. The Blu Rays at the cheapest, like if you pay for a year at a time, is like $27 and change, $27.44 I wanna say. I could be a little bit wrong on that. Per month for 4 movies, which is I think very reasonable. I don't recall what the shipping is. Also, I will have the link if you wanna check them out, and I'm very out of practice, in the description below. And also they're offering for me to set up a $3 discount code for you if you're a new subscriber. So check the link in future videos. I will verbally tell you what that is, but we haven't settled on it yet. So I'm excited to open this Horror Pack and see what I've got so I can start watching it and doing reviews. So I'm obviously holding it upside down because I don't want to show them a home address. I don't want to hide it. But usually it comes in a bubble wrapped mailer. And also too, I do like to remind people that I probably own a lot of these movies. But you know, we'll see. And you always get one exclusive that is a limited edition and only available through Horror Pack, at least at the time of release. And that's usually pretty cool. So also, like last time they sent me one, I got the Blu Ray of The Sadness, which is still top 5 of the films of the year for me. Although there's getting stiffer competition lately. But I also want to give you the preference here. I just got back from an Italian night dinner. So I've had not as much wine as I would normally have at one of those, but there's been some wine. So if I'm a little thing. So I'm just trying to see the edge of my thing so I can see where the special edition is, basically. And let's pull out the first movie. Oh, that's the one other thing. If you watched these before, I would usually read you the description and play you the trailer. I'm gonna do that a little differently. I am gonna watch all these movies and review them after we do the unboxing. I'll still read the back of the box, but I'm gonna start putting the trailers over the reviews. I think that'll just be a little bit nicer. So that way I don't have to vamp as much between movies as well. So we can do the unboxing a little bit quicker. This is a longer intro than usual. I'm sorry, I appreciate you, I love you, let's do it. We've got, ooh. Okay, so I'm sure we have this. I'm sure we have this in 4K. And I'll probably watch my 4K edition. But I'm excited to rewatch this. This is fantastic. Holy, okay, total freaking coincidence. I know people out there aren't gonna believe that, but I had a different shirt picked out. I thought, well, I'm gonna open Horror Pack. I should put on a horror movie shirt. Favorite Universal classic horror movie. This is amazing. If you have not seen this, this is an amazing modern take on the Invisible Man. I love what they did with this. I love the characters, the score, the tension is real, the effects are fantastic, the viscerality, that's probably not our word, but how visceral the violent acts were, incredible. One insanely shocking moment of just so good. Set up for a great sequel. I really want to see this. So let me see what I can do in terms of showing you kind of the cover with as little reflection as possible, give you a sense of that, and show you the back a little bit. And it's a good thing this box is free because this is Universal, and when I show their trailer, this is going to get copyright claimed, so I'm not going to make a penny off this video. That's insider baseball. Universal does not like me doing trailer reactions. Some companies are real cool. And it's different for YouTubers, by the way, because I've heard some YouTubers complain about certain companies that are always great to me, and then the companies that always copyright my stuff, they're great to them. So anyways, let's do this real fast. All right, so we have, okay, you didn't miss much. I just had a false start on fixing this. My camera cut off, I ran out of space. Let's jump back to where we lost off. So let's do this. Elizabeth Moss in The Invisible Man. I've seen that porn. All right, I gotta try and read this again. All right, so I think, yeah, we showed the cover. I confirmed the other clip worked on my computer, so. Trapped in a violent, a cutting contemporary work of socially conscious horror, says Peter Travers of Rolling Stone. Trapped in a violent, controlling relationship with a wealthy scientist, Cecilia, Elizabeth Moss, escapes in the dead of night and disappears into hiding. But when her abusive ex suddenly dies, Cecilia suspects his death was a hoax. As a series of eerie coincidences turn lethal, threatening the lives of those she loves, Cecilia's sanity begins to unravel while she desperately tries to prove she's being hunted by someone nobody can see. Sibilance. We got some deleted scenes. Moss Manifested, Director's Journey with Lee Winnell, The Players, Timeless Terror, and a feature commentary with Lee Winnell. I love those, so thankfully that's there. I know this is rated R. It is 2 hours and 4 minutes. All right, let's move on, because I realize I'm doing this like I need to buy time for trailers, but they come in the reviews, so... Okay, I'm pretty sure I flipped these the right way. Next we have, it's been a minute. It's been a long time. We watched this on DMN a couple of years ago, but I watched it because it's DMN. My anaconda don't want buns unless you've got... I know lyrics good. You know what, let's just do this. I'm excited to rewatch this one. This is gonna be a fun one. Actually, I might be in the mood for this tonight. So this is why I'm glad I went ahead and opened these. All right, so we have the Blu Ray DVD, which I may own, of Anaconda. Actually, I guess if we watched it on DMN, I probably do. I can sit in my office. Whatever, it's fine. Anaconda, if you can't breathe, you can't scream. Actually, this might be good for Mary to rewatch. She can handle this. She liked Invisible Man, though. I don't know if she wants to rewatch it. All right. A slick, scary, funny creature feature. Roger Ebert of Chicago Sun-Times. A documentary film crew headed by anthropologist Steve Kale, Eric Stoltz, and director Terry Flores, Jennifer Lopez. I'm sorry, it's a South Park thing. Don't get mad at me. I was doing that. That was my intention. I apologize. No offense intended. Ventures into the world's most isolated jungle, the Amazon, in search of a lost and forgotten civilization. Early in their journey, they've come to the aid of Paul Cerrone, a Paraguayan guide, John Voight, who joins their expedition. But Cerrone is actually a poacher on the trail of a legendary snake. This feels like it tells too much. When Cerrone hijacks the boat and its crew on his quest to track and kill the giant snake, he steers the expedition right into the path of the deadly monster. Get ready for a wild, scare-a-minute thrill ride because Anaconda will grab you and take your breath away with its sexy butt cheeks. Because that's how we roll. I don't think I showed you. Let me find a frame where you can you might be able to make that out if you pause. There we go. All right, we got rated PG-13, an hour and 29 minutes, not a single special feature. What are you gonna do? All right, let's move on. We got one more before we get to this. Theoretically, unless I'm just wrong, maybe what he opened is the August box. I don't know. I should know what this one is. Let's see. Okay, this is the one I knew. I have not seen this yet, though. I do own it, so let's just be real. I'm glad. I thank you for the free box. I'm excited for the exclusive and the reason to rewatch these movies because that's the real part of what it's for. But anyways, here is Countdown. I never got around to seeing this one. I did want to see it. I'm sure it's not the greatest of movies, but it should be enjoyable. I'm easy on these things. I love horror. I love bad horror. I love fucking spookies and things. Like Joe Bob showed Things. I went out and bought it. I enjoyed it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I love all this stuff. All right, so Countdown. Death. There's an app for that. Yeah, damn right. Oh, wrong death. Let's see if I can give you a cool frame while I do this. When a young nurse, Elizabeth Lawley, downloads an app that claims to predict exactly when a person is going to die, it tells her she only has 3 days to live. With time ticking away and death closing in, she must find a way to save her life before time runs out. Jump scares are around every corner, says Kimber Myers of the Los Angeles Times. With a nice runtime of an hour and 31 minutes, PG-13, and does not appear to be any special features. Cool, actually I'm looking forward to this. This is finally gonna make me watch that. I'd be in the mood to watch that tonight too, so maybe we'll do it. All right, grand finale, let's see what the special edition is, then we'll get to the reviews. Okay, don't know anything about? Wait a minute, do I know something about this? Maybe I don't know anything about this. It's reminding me of something. We have Dark Tales from Channel X. It's a porno, I wish. No. Porno Pack, there's your next... I'd subscribe to Porno Pack. Yeah. Anyways, I really would. Especially like if you like mixed in like a... Okay, I'm gonna, like a classic... Anyways, I'm diverging way too hard. Dark Tales from Channel X, a broadcast of fear. It is good to see the art is stepped up a little bit. I mean, the front art, maybe, you can tell it was a little bit lower quality printing, like step up your DPI. You need to get that to at least 300. But the back is fairly well laid out, but you need a credit block. It never feels right unless you have a credit block. I don't know, I just, personally, as a physical media collector snob, I'm just saying. So anyways, we got Dark Tales from Channel X, a broadcast of fear. Horror Pack Limited Edition Blu-ray, number 73 on the spine there. I do love it, the number. That's a real, again, as a physical collector of medias, that's a real cool touch that I do very much love. All right. Made for those who grew up watching titles like Creepshow and The Twilight Zone, says Horror Society, but not a specific person, just Horror Society. Sorry, I'm having fun. You having fun? I'm having fun. All right, when an old TV set mysteriously turns on, babysitter Cassie is treated to a series of tales full of curses, creatures, and stalkers, presented by an enigmatic host known only as the viewer. 74 minutes. I can totally handle 74 minutes. That's not a problem at all. Of course, no rating. This is a pretty low budget, it looks like. That doesn't necessarily mean anything. You can do so much with so little, way more than when I was growing up. And I guess it does sound like an anthology. So short run time, anthology, at least it's not going to be miserable. At worst. At best, it could be an awesome surprise of greatness. I don't know until I watch all these things. So let's do that. Let's watch. All right, so The Invisible Man, the first movie out of the box, last movie I got to watch and review, and just a quick apology to all the wonderful folks over at Horror Pack. I know you understood that, I was on honeymoon and marriage and all that, and I very much appreciate it. I'm just sorry this took way longer than I thought. I'd hoped to at least have this first box out during the honeymoon, but I did not have time to watch this movie till recently. That said, I've seen this before. I saw it when it came out. I guess that was during lockdown, so saw it when, the digital home release. Watched it with Mary. Loved it originally. This time, well, I loved it every bit as freaking much because it was really, really cool. Like, seriously, the tension is still there, the craziness is still there, the horror, the shock. It demands your attention. Like, literally, I needed to get started on watching it. And I just kept having reason after reason, work-wise, excuse me, my allergies tonight are killing me, work-wise to, oh, I gotta do this, or I gotta do that, or I'm going here, or I'm traveling here, and I haven't had time to blah, 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 blah. So I finally was like, you know what, I'm getting close, but I'm working one night later than I wanted to, but I was like, let me go ahead and start it on my iPad. I watched the first half while I'm kind of making some thumbnails, doing some text work, kind of mindless stuff. And it took me a lot longer, excuse me, because I had to, I kept getting distracted by the movie itself. I couldn't just listen. I had to be watching and engaging. So then I got that done and watched the back half. And man, just seriously, from start to finish, I would like a slightly more authentic to the original remake in terms, or, for a MonsterVerse, if that was going to ever actually happen. But this was a brilliant take on this material. And I would love to see a sequel to it as well. So I don't mean that as a knock against it or anything. I'm just saying, I really love the original Invisible Man and the mad scientist element of it. And again, this had mad scientists, so I'm not trying to be down on it by any means. It was just a fantastic fucking time and a great movie, and I'm so glad I got to watch it again. And just a killer find out of Horror Pack, especially for anybody that hadn't seen it yet. So excellent job. Another cool month. But again, performances are fantastic, believable. The psychology of the things going into it really make a lot of sense. Unfortunately, the abuser side of it is very realistic. Just everything. I'm trying to think, because it has been a few days since I watched it, and I'm a little tired right now, but if there's anything else I want to say. I don't know if the music was really good. I was going to say it was really good, but then I don't really remember it. which is kind of a good thing, but at the same time, I don't know. But yeah, pacing is excellent. I think it's like a 2-hour movie. I think it's 2 and change or something, but still, pacing is excellent. It never feels long, never feels dull. It's a little bit quiet, so don't watch it when you're sleepy, because I remember the first time I watched it, the opening, as great as it was, I was struggling to keep my eyes open because it's just like deathly silent for a good reason, tense reason, but I was tired that day. I'm always tired. I got old, and then if I sit down, I get tired. So while I'm doing this review, anyways, we'll get this out. I'll try to get the next horror pack out fairly quickly. I do need to still watch all the movies for review. And then I don't know if they've actually sent me any more, but that may also be that they have. And I was having some issues with my P.O. box, and maybe they just haven't told me. So I need to get down there and make sure I'm not sitting on 1 or 2. It's fine either way. I'm not like being greedy, like, where's my box? I'm just like, oh, I hope it's not sitting down there and I haven't noticed, you know? Because they said they wanted to send them to me for a while. But hey, if it's this one and the next one, that's fine too. It's a wonderful thing. I'm not going to tell you anything about next month's, but there's some really good stuff in there as well. Okay, that's this review. Let's do the other reviews and keep making horror pack unboxings. Keep doing horror stuff. Did you know that I traveled 1,200 something miles, 630 miles one day by myself, 630 miles the next day back to go to the Mahoning and watch some horror movies this past weekend? Okay, in all fairness, I didn't go to watch the movies, but it was cool seeing parts of Spookies and Things on the drive-in screen. I was really there to party with all my last drive-in friends. Well, I was really there to party with all my trauma friends, let's be real, who make the last drive-in. And all that, and whatever, dude. Listen, it's awesome. It's cool to be a horror fan. It's a great time to be a horror fan. It's a really great time to be a horror fan. All right, next movie. My anaconda don't want buns unless you got nuns, hun.
That's not how they go.
Because she's just Jennifer Lopez from the block. Nope, I didn't mean to say Lopez. I was trying to do the Eric Cartman thing. So we watched Anaconda.
Yes.
On the big screen. It's blurry as fuck. It's not a good quality copy. That's not Horror Pack's fault. It's just there's not a good quality copy of that movie out there. It's okay. It doesn't hold up that well. It's definitely dated. Definitely feels very 90s. Awesome cast.
Yeah.
John Boyd is awful in it. The accent, what the fuck? Jennifer Lopez is like such a damsel in distress in it, even though she seems to be like promoted as the big thing. And Ice Cube is very miscast, although they are all giving it their all. I will give them that. Eric Stoltz might be the best one in it, and that might be because he's barely in it. Actually, no, who's like the snobby guy? Like, that guy is probably the best guy in it. That's one of those actors we know.
Narrator guy.
Yeah, that we know from 1,000 places. Even the giant anaconda is not as big as I remember it being. And that's just because, you know, we've seen so many other crazy big monster movies now that it's like, oh, it's kind of tiny. CG's very early CG.
Yeah. Yeah.
But, I mean, it's okay. It paces well. It's not awful.
It's very meh.
And the thing is, like, we try to do it as like a drunk rewatch kind of deal, like have fun with it, but it's like, it's not as much fun as some of the other things. You know, like it's good enough that it's hard to make fun of, but it's not good enough to be like really having a blast watching it.
It's the I'm doing something, let me throw on the TV in the background.
Yeah, like it could be some background noise, but it's just not. I mean, I do kind of want to see the sequels because I never saw any of them. And apparently they do kind of
sequels?
Oh, there's like 3 or 4, I think.
Oh, Jesus.
And you know, it kind of gets into the more ridiculous as it goes, so it's probably more enjoyable as it does that.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure they even had a versus one where it's Anaconda versus something. But then again, that's one of those things where you can't really trademark the title Anaconda. So it might just be that a bunch of other movies have like Anaconda versus Python or something, you know, so.
Anaconda isn't Python.
We're exhausted from this game we're playing that's kicking our butts. So, you know, and it's late and, but so bear with us here. But I remembered we needed to do this review because again, getting ready for the honeymoon and all that, we have so much stuff going on. We're falling apart. We're less than 2 weeks, but we're falling apart. We'll get there.
I got nothing else to say. Let's just end it.
Well, I don't know if that was long enough for the trailer.
Why are we running the trailer?
So
oh, that's right. This is
Horror Pack. Yeah. Sorry, you're out of practice with Horror Pack. I appreciate you, Horror Pack. I appreciate this movie, and I'm glad to have another copy, I suppose. But no, I mean, it's cool. It's a cool one to put in there, and maybe in the right mood, it could be more fun. But it just wasn't as fun as I was hoping it would be. We even watched it on the giant projection system, so.
Yeah.
But that may have not helped because then everything looks so smeary and blurry. It's like an early days Blu Ray. All right, fine. That's it for Anaconda. I'm sorry the review sucks. So do we. All right, we have to go play some more of this game. Bye. So last night, I finally watched Countdown. I wasn't expecting a lot from this. I do think there's a cool premise here. I don't think it was very well executed. I think there are parts of the story, like there's kind of a twist near the end with our main lady and then what she decides, how she decides she could potentially break said curse. I'm not doing spoilers, but that's, you know, I'm not gonna tell you how. But I thought that was kind of cool and I wish they played with that more. But really, I mean, it's a very passable movie. Like, there's nothing really terrible per se in it, but there's nothing really great in it. And there's there's a creature, and the creature design is pretty meh. And you know, I mean, there's a jump scare or two that's fairly effective. I do think the concept of the Countdown app is great, and I feel like they should have gone a little more Final Destination with it because it started to feel that way. Like, especially as people's clocks are ticking down. You know, you could do the whole setting up like, oh, is this going to be the thing that kills them? Oh, nope, it's going to be this thing. Oh, wait, it was this thing all along. I had no idea. So I wish they'd gone a little bit more that way, or even just anthologied it. Like, you know, it's like 5 segments that are 15 minutes each, and it's each one of their deaths or something in its own little short. But, you know, instead they had to give kind of the standard, it feels like an early 2000s. I know it was made later than that, but it feels like an early 2000s horror film because they had to do all the standard story plotting and try to get you this forced romance in there that it's like, man, there was no chemistry with those people. I bought them as friends. I did not buy them as being into each other, and it just kind of happens. The ending, again, not spoiling anything, but it's not bad for what it is, for everything they set up and where it all goes. But honestly, you know, I kind of knew what I was in for. It's about what I expected, and they definitely could have gone further with it. I just feel it was rather undercooked. They took a fairly clever premise and then just kind of 2000s it, generic it. It wasn't really terrible. It wasn't really great. It's pretty forgettable. But I mean, like I said, it had a moment or two. Like the opening, you know, the very first death in the movie. It's not necessarily in the opening, but that is kind of cool. Even though when I first saw it, I was like, but then there's a real reveal immediately kind of after that, and it tells you something. It's like, oh, okay, I can get on board with that. So, like I said, I see a lot of potential in there, and they just squandered it. So, I mean, that's my thoughts anyways. Perhaps you all think different and enjoy it more or less. Like I said, it's one of those, like, if it's on TV and I'm just putting something on in the background, I could watch it again, but I'm not going to get sucked into it or drawn in and be like, oh my God, I can't wait to see what happens, or get a hankering in like 3 years. Like, you know, I haven't watched that movie Countdown in a while. I should check that out again, but nah, I don't think it's one of those. So that's my thoughts on Countdown. So let's watch another movie. Thank you, Horror Pack. Dark Tales from Channel X, the Horror Pack exclusive. I didn't hate this by any means. Well, I mean, even for me, like, I never really hate a movie. Oh, I need to go close that door so the cats don't get in. I didn't love it either. There's definitely some potential here, and it's not poorly made by any means. It's actually pretty well put together. I gotta say though, there wasn't a lot of style in a lot of it. Honestly, like maybe the TV transitions when the host comes on is the more stylistic element of it. And some of that was kind of cool, but a lot of the other stuff, well lit, how do I phrase this? Because I don't want to say well lit, like it's not like, oh, it's overly bright or anything, but it's not artistically lit, I guess. It's a little washed out, but that could be a budgetary thing. None of the performances are really stand out in here. That's okay. None of them are terrible either. Nobody's like, so I've seen movies where certain performances will just take you right out of it. So that wasn't there. And our main girl, though not really set up to be liked that much, does a fine job watching and reacting to things. It's kind of obvious what's going to happen at the end. And I like the idea of it being an anthology, but I think by reading that on the back, I got a little disappointed because until the end, a lot of the stories aren't really stories as much as they're just vignettes of like little things that happen, like, you know, 3-sentence kind of concept, you know? So they did compare it to a Creep Show or a Twilight Zone, maybe. I forget what it said on the box. And I'm like, well, I mean, I see where you're getting at. I see where you're going for, but those had constructed stories that had their own beginnings, middles, and ends. They weren't kind of just an event. You know, the nesting doll thing, kind of cool. I kind of enjoyed that. The Teddy thing was kind of cool. Although I have to say, like, whoever wrote that, like, the whole thing in that is, you know, that she did a striptease for her boyfriend. He released the video, and I'm like, nothing in what you show in that video would be considered a striptease. It's a sex tape. She doesn't dance, like, at all. There's no stripping at all. Like, she takes her thing off very unsexily, like her robe, and then she's wearing lingerie or whatever and hops right on the guy. And I'm like, that's not a striptease, that's a sex tape. So I was just mildly annoyed by things like that, but not in a way that it made me angry. And then it did get a little more story-based by the end. There is this one thing with a woman and her breasts that's just odd. It might be more affecting to certain people. It didn't land with me. But again, like I said, I've seen better, I've seen worse, even as Horror Packs exclusives goes. But this was, I mean, it's okay. I can't stand here and like recommend it to anybody. There wasn't anything in there that I'm like, oh, you know, it's at least worth checking out for this. If you got a horror pack, sure, watch it. You paid for the horror pack, presumably. So check it out, give it a shot. Because like I said, I've said this before, it's always a good time to preach that any movie that ever gets released is a miracle. Any movie that gets finished is a miracle, and getting released is a double miracle. Because for every movie released, there are 10 finished films that never get released, and for every 10 finished films that get released, there are another 50 films that never even got finished. You know what I'm saying? So you got to give some respect to that, because it is a difficult thing to achieve. If you've never done it, you just really don't know. And like I said, the sound in this was fine. Everything in this was fine. It does show promise. It shows potential. Like as usual with a lot of local filmmakers, the way I look at it, or independent, you know, no budget kind of filmmakers, is if this is your first thing, hey, it's pretty good for your first thing. If your next thing is better and you're showing improvement each time out, then cool, I got high hopes for you. But I've also known some filmmakers, it's like they'll do something of this level that's fairly competent and like worth respect because it got done, but then it's always just that level and there's never any improvement in any area. So hard to tell. This is the only film I know from these filmmakers, but I do see, I get the vibe, there's probably potential here because there's some cool stuff in there. And I could see that maybe they did this movie, finished it, and learned a lot, and like, oh, we would do this different, we would do this different. But I mean, I kind of like it. And I think if I was set up more for it being more vignettes than short stories, I might have liked it a little bit more. But really, that's my thought on Dark Tales from Channel X. Shredder! That's supposed to be Dimension X. I guess that's the last review, because I put these out in the order I open them from the box, despite what order I watch them in, even though I've still got one more movie to watch myself. But there you go. All right, let's wrap this up. All right, so there you go. That is what I thought and or Mary thought on some of these horror films. Obviously, 2 I have seen. I know this is great. This has got to be the best movie in the bunch, unless I'm surprised, because I'm filming this before I watch them. This is not great, but it's very enjoyable. I can appreciate this more than when it came out now, because I'm more of a Sharknado type of guy. It's not quite as funny as something like that, but you know, plus Jennifer Lopez, sure. This I might be pleasantly surprised, because I'm having pretty low expectations, but in a good way. And you know, it's at least competently made, I'm sure. And you know, these are always a surprise, so I have no idea until I watch them. Sometimes I'm watching the clock. Sometimes I'm thoroughly engaged, but I will say this is an important message I do want to make sure I do, and hopefully in all these videos, because even if I didn't like this or it really annoyed me, and in case I didn't say it there, if you've never tried to make a movie, you have no idea what you're talking about. Nobody makes a movie for a paycheck. Producers on the high Hollywood end, okay, sure, they're looking at numbers. We're not talking about that. But I'm saying, don't start calling stuff trash or garbage or dumpster fires, because these are passionate people that are busting their butts to do it. And for every one film that gets made and distributed, there's at least 10 films that got made and couldn't find distribution. And for every film that got made and couldn't find distribution, there's at least 50 films people started making or promised to make that never got made, or more. So by the way, make your damn movie. Don't wait for anybody. You don't need, you got a phone, you can make a movie. It's gonna suck. It's gonna suck a few times. Eventually you'll get good. Maybe you'll be great right off the bat, and then you'll get prolific. I don't know, but just do it, man. All right, so that's it for Horror Pack for this month. They said they're gonna send me more. I'll do them. I'm cool with free movies, especially the collector edition ones. I like to see what they do. So comment below though, what do you think? You seen any of these movies? What are your thoughts on them? What are your feelings on them? Don't forget to look in the description to see if I have a discount code if you want to check them out. And obviously I have the link for it. And yeah, so let me hear your thoughts. You can also click the thumbs up button, give me the good old thumb of encouragement, as I do love to be encouraged. And remember that we will get through this. We will get through this together, especially when we have sweet horror movies to watch. And yeah, so if you want to check out our wedding website, Mary and I I'm going to my first ever Halloween horror nights. So that's something else too. Comment, have you ever been to one? Are you excited for it? What do you think the other houses they're going to announce this year? Tips, tricks, suggestions. We're doing an RIP trip on one of the nights. We'll be horror nights for 4 nights. We're doing that diner, the pasta diner, horror diner thing. So, you know, let me know. Very excited about that. But if you want to check out our wedding website, maybe for the live stream of the wedding or just see what we're doing, there's some cute stuff over there. You can go to buttsbuddies.com. That is BUTTSBUDDIES.com. Can't guarantee your safety if you go to anything else. You might like it, you might not. And of course, you can check out my music. I make old school pop punk. I'll do other stuff too eventually, but right now, old school pop punk, Bouncing Soul, Screeching Weasel, things like that. You like them, you might like me. Check me out anywhere you listen to music, Spotify, Apple Music, whatever. Look up Eric Butts, try a couple songs, see what you think. Maybe we can rock out together. People are starting to find my music after all this time, and I'm starting to realize, oh, there is an audience for me. So maybe you're part of it. And of course, you want to check some other music stuff I've done and some of my previous filmmaking work on my very out-of-date website, TheEricButts.com. I'm making something next year, at least a 5-minute short, 3 to 5 minute short. Don't know why yet, but I'm making myself do it. I'm gonna make my movie again. It's been too long. I made that Ship to Short commercial, loved doing that, and forgot how much I love filming. So anyway, check all that out. More content, more ways to support the channel with the links in the description below. Just click that see more button to see more butts. And on that note, I'm gonna get on out here so I can go see some more stuff. There's Jack. Hi, Jack. I'll see you all later.